Hello, today we're going to be going over this Canon A1 semi-professional 35mm single lens reflex camera that I will have listed for sale on my eBay store. I would like to point out that there is one mechanical problem with this camera that will affect the picture taking quality, so I've designated this as 4 parts or not working. It's unfortunate because this is the nicest Canon A1 I've seen cosmetically. So I would like to show you that the action grip that goes over the battery compartment is included. This is commonly lost with these cameras. And I would also like to include that the PC socket, the rubber socket for the flash port, is included as well. This is also lost on a lot of these cameras. So I'm going to go over the shutter and the meter of this camera. Both work flawlessly. Unfortunately, due to an issue on the sprocket drive, this camera is not operational. It would need some mechanical fix. So I'm going to put in a Duracell 28A battery. This does not come with the camera. I have just purchased this myself for testing purposes. I would like to tell you that the battery door is 100% complete. It's not broken, it's not taped, it's not cracked, it's in complete working order. So I'm going to open it up, put the battery in, and I will take off the snap-on rubber FD mount cap that will come with this camera as well, and we can look inside the mirror as we go through the shutter speeds. So to turn the camera on, move this position from the red lock to the white A, which stands for advance. Now we can advance the camera. The problem with this camera also has to do with the film counter. It will stay at 0. It does not advance through the frames. So this is at 1/1000th of a second, 1/500th of a second, 1/250th of a second, 1/125th of a second, 1/60th of a second, which is the flash sync speed, 1/30th of a second, 1/15th of a second, 1/8th of a second, 1/4th of a second, half a second, 1 full second, 2 full seconds, 4 seconds, 8 seconds. Now, as we go into the slower shutter speeds, I'm going to demonstrate all of them. Most people who are selling these cameras, who make videos on YouTube, do not go through the full shutter speeds. So I am, because I want to show you that the shutter is working correctly. I'm also going to have a scrap roll of film to demonstrate the issue with this camera. This is at 15 seconds, so we'll just continue to wait for the mirror to come back down again. And then this is at 30 full seconds. I'm going to get the scrap roll of film ready for the demonstration of the sprocket advance. It's very unfortunate because this camera is completely 4 parts. If you try to put a roll of film through this camera, you're going to have no results. Somebody did something to the inside of the advance sprocket drive. That is very unfortunate. They cut part of the advance sprocket out, but I'll show you that after we get done the shutter speed selection. This is the bulb setting, where when my thumb is pressed on the shutter button, the mirror will stay up, the shutter will remain open, the lens will stay strapped down until I release my thumb from the shutter button. Now, this camera also has an aperture value, or aperture priority mode, and this will allow you to select the aperture from the maximum opening of 1.4 to f22. If I go back to the time value, which is Canon's designation for shutter priority, you can see the different shutter speeds there. Okay, now I'm going to move on to the self-timer. The 2-second self-timer, I'm going to shut off the light so you can see the timer light go off. So that was at 2 seconds, and this is the 10-second timer. You can see that the red light will flash, and then it will get rapid until it completes the cycle. Okay, that's the self-timer features. On the left side of the camera for you, the right side of the camera for me, this is your exposure counter. Press the button down and move. It will lock into place. This is the battery check. It will flash once you press that button. And on the side here is your ASA selection. You move that over and you can move the ASA knob to where you want it to be. This is your stop down depth of field preview. So it will lock in place. Lift up the latch and press that button and it will release. Over here are your lens mount and your exposure compensation buttons. This lock here is for the shutter speed dial. It will lock your shutter speed in place so you can't move it. That's that. And over here is your viewfinder blind. It will block out any light from the back of the camera. Here's your film reminder tab. Just place your piece of film, cartridge, something like that, in the back of the camera to let you know that there's film in the camera. The meter works in this camera. I have tested it with a lens, and I've accurately tested it with a digital camera, so you'll be good with that. I don't believe there's anything else that I have to test on the shutter or the meter. It's a low serial number. It's numbered 511509, so you're getting a lower serial number. It was one of the first 500,000 made, which is pretty good if you consider that they made millions of these. I'm going to open up the rewind crank. It's a very nice black metal crank, and it works nicely. We're going to open up the back of the camera to expose the problem with this camera. Now, you can see the advanced drive that I was talking about earlier. The bottom half is cut away and it's loose. It does not move with the advanced drive. The advanced drive and the sprocket should move together. It's not moving together, which means that if I put film in the camera, it will not advance the film. It will just advance when I cock the shutter. So film's in the camera. So that's the first. It's not going to advance the film. So as I'm advancing, it's not advancing the film. So you're not going to get any real results from this camera because of the sprocket drive issue. So that's why this will be designated as 4 parts are not working. And right now I'm even having trouble rewinding the film. So be aware of that. This camera will not work at all unless you get it serviced. And I am not going to put in the time, effort, and money into this camera because for me, buying another one at a cheaper price would be more feasible for me. I also want to point out, I'm not sure if there's a cover for this auto winder or battery grip, as you can call it. It doesn't come with a advance, or rather the auto winder cover. I'm not sure if anything goes there, but it does look like something is missing. So I'm going to take the battery out. And I'm going to put the battery grip back on this camera. And I'm going to prepare it for sale. And I'm going to put the body cap back on, and it will be shipped like this. Unfortunately, this camera is in great cosmetic shape. It's in great working order by means of the shutter and the meter, but that one issue with the sprocket drive that we went over is detrimental to the camera's operation, which means that it will not operate with that issue. So if you are buying this, take note that you will have to service this camera yourself or bring it to a repair shop who will be able to disassemble and replace that sprocket drive. Thank you very much for watching, and be sure to check out my other camera listings on eBay. Thank you.